I'm going to be just brutally honest with you about your weight. You keep not being able to lose the weight because you keep complaining about your genes, okay? So who are these women, right, that I'm showing you? Who are these women that I'm showing you? So my amazing mother has approved me to be able to show you guys this. This is my mom in her 40s. As you can see how inflamed her face is. Okay, that's my mom and my grandmother. Okay, super inflamed. You can tell in the cheeks. You can tell in her neck. And then now this is how she looks in her 60s. Like, look at the difference. No inflammation in the face, no inflammation in the neck. Look at that. Okay, so here's the thing. Let me actually show you, see if I can show you a closer picture. I won't zoom in, but isn't that wild? So here's the thing. If you are somebody that states, I can't lose the weight because this is just how women are built in my family, more than likely, and I'm just going to be flat out honest with you, it might be because it seems like it's genetic, but most of it actually could be habits. So the thing is, my mom and my grandmother, okay, because they both actually got a lot thinner as they continued to age. My mom and my grandmother both were eating like the traditional African-American diet, right? Really, really high food, highly fried processed foods, okay? A lot of soda, tons of soda. My mom used to drink like 3 things of soda a day. I could be exaggerating, but she used to definitely drink at least 1 a day. My grandmother used to drink beer every single day, at least 2 to 3 beers a day, had pork rinds, all of that, okay? So now my mom in this photo is maybe like a year or 2 older than how old I am right now, okay? So here's the thing, and then my neck is not inflamed, right? My mom's face is very inflamed, okay? I definitely have moments where I can get like that if I eat too much sugar. So here's the thing. It's not about, you know, and I just want to be flat out honest with you. It's not about it running in your family. It's about the habits that your family has done over generation upon generation upon generation. And because we are just inheriting our parents' habits, we end up doing the same habits. And it seems as if it's just genetic, but it's because we're still eating the same processed food that our family members have been having for millennia, right? We're having, or maybe not millennia, but, you know, for generation upon generation, we're still having the same sugary foods. We're still not moving our body. We're still not into health and wellness and fitness. My mom, bless her heart, the health and wellness was the last thing on her mind. Okay, so with all due respect to my amazing mom who's allowed me to grace all of us with her journey, she, you know, was a single mother and just focused on taking care of her children, right? And now that she is in a stage of life where, you know, she has a lot more time to focus on herself, me and her together have been on a journey where I've helped her lose 40 pounds and she has not gained it back at all. She lost it naturally. She didn't take any supplements. She didn't, you know, buy some expensive program. She literally just changed her habits. As I was growing and learning in my wellness journey, my mother also was changing in her wellness habits as well. Just little tips and tricks and tweaks here and there that she's continued to keep up with. And now she's lost 40 pounds and counting, right? So I just got to be honest with you, sis. It's not because it's your genes. So if I had said that when I gained 30 pounds in my late 20s and never gained it back now in my late 30s, I could have just assumed, okay, well, most of the women in my family start to gain a lot of weight as they head into their late 20s. And, you know, this is just part of my family. This is just part of my genes. And then I just did my own research and I wasn't accepting it. Okay. I was like, this just doesn't make any sense. Like, why was it so abrupt? Why was this so sudden? And then I had to really analyze my habits and my lifestyle. And there was a lot of things that I was doing to bring the weight on, right? It wasn't like, okay, now all of a sudden this obesity gene starts to get turned on. And then now I'm just supposed to pack on the weight because it's like part of my genes. So I did the research and it was like, no, absolutely not. Like, you can be a super fit 60, 70-year-old. I mean, if you look on YouTube, you literally type in fit 70-year-olds, they come up all over the place. Like, there's thousands of them now. It's very common. It's getting common to see someone, especially on the internet, maybe not in your own direct community, but you can easily find somebody on the internet that is sharing their journey that is in their golden years. Okay. So that was number one, that was motivating and inspiring for me. Number one, I was like, if these women in their, and African-American women, not, cause I know that it can seem like, okay, well, that's just cultural, or that's just that ethnicity, that's their body type. These were African-American women that I had looked up, and they were super fit and, just really youthful and radiant. And I was like, okay, what did they do? And it was just a series of continuous habits that they practiced every day over time. And then it became a lifestyle. They became embodied with it. That's why my page is called Embody Pursuit. So we're constantly in pursuit of embodying that next level. So embodying is literally taking a concept, like an idea or that identity that we imagine ourselves to be, and we actually become it. Like, we are radiating. People can see it on us, right? It's not just an idea, or I hope, or I wish I lose weight. It actually, we become it, right? We become a healthier person. We become somebody that's known for wellness. We become somebody that is known for natural radiant energy, right? From our food, from our keeping our stress at bay, right? We all have stress. It's part of life, but it's just a matter of being able to balance that out and have it be to a point where we can work with our stress, and sometimes even use our stress as a means of fuel as well, for our habits. So I wanted to show you guys that it could be, that you could be very inflamed like my mother was. My mom probably arguably would have looked a lot younger than she was. She was in her early 40s in this photo. She probably would have looked a lot younger, but her face and her neck and her shoulders, and you can just see, like, she just was just a lot more inflamed in this picture. And then literally her being a lot more, older in this picture. And you would think, like, okay, well, with age, it's going to get harder. And yeah, to be honest, it is harder as you do continue to spend more years on the planet. But, look at that. Look at that. I wish you guys could really, like, get a good photo, or get a good look. Let me actually see if I can do it like this. Cause the thing is, when I'm going to do this, I'm going to zoom in, I'm going to screenshot, cause that's why it's having a problem. So that's what I want to say. It's like, if you feel like you look around at the women in your family and you just consider yourself like, this is how we are, this is how we're built, this is what runs in our family. What runs in the family is more than likely habits. And I can only speak on that because I actually saw it in my own family. If I continued to eat like my great grandma, like my grandma, like my mom, I would have just been like that lineage, right? And so it would be assumed that it's my genes. But when I did my own research and I put in the work, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is the biggest lie of all time. Like, this is, again, I'm not a healthcare professional. I'm not a certified nutritionist. I am not, a certified fitness trainer. I'm just a woman that has put in the work, the time, the research, and done a lot of experimenting on my own life, my own body, my own journey. And I'm just simply sharing it. So, make sure you do your own research with anything that I'm talking about. But, I think we can all agree at this point, eating processed foods, it's not going to make us look like we're alive, right? It's dead food, right? So if we want to look more alive, more radiant, less inflamed, we're going to need to take on more foods that are anti-inflammatory foods, dark leafy greens, good dark berries and things like that. Of course, good clean spring water, alkaline water. If you can get access to that, Google it, really go out of your way. And you're going to have to go out of your way, especially with how easy it is now to get access to very, very cheap, horrible food. You are going to have to go out of your way, but it's worth it. I'm telling you, like, the way that I feel when I am running around with my nieces and nephews that are little babies, little toddlers, I love it. Like, those are the best memories, that I could, have ever asked for from God, because it's like, if I was sick and inflamed and feeling heavy and I'm feeling, having brain fog and feeling lethargic and feeling, just like kind of slothful and not wanting to move because of, having an extra 30 pounds, 40 pounds, and then just kind of like that, you know, not being able to tap into my natural energy reserves because I just have so much processed food inside of me, I wouldn't be able to have those memories of being able to run after them and pick them up and run after, you know, run with them outside and climb with them and do all these amazing things. And so we all have different things that drive us. And so what is going to drive you? You know, what is going to help you check into the fact that you can live a more quality life when you are having more radiance, more energy, more vibrance, more, you know, excitement, more joy. And when we put, it's a, you know, I feel like we can all agree on this. When we put healthier things in our body, we start to tap in with that, you know. And here's the thing, some could argue, well, I just want to live, right? And a lot of times with the good old Southern cooking, and again, you know, my family, my great grandmother migrated over from the South over to the West Coast in California. That's where I was born and raised. My mom was born and raised, and my grandmother, you know, was raised. And, you know, that good old Southern cooking traveled as well. And yes, there's tradition and there's memories and there's, you know, kind of like that cultural aspect. But unfortunately, the way that good old, like the traditional good old fashioned Southern cooking, to eat like that every day is what is driving up the obesity in our people. Like, we really have to think about, even I'm half Punjabi. It's the same thing. Fried food, you know, there is some healthier options traditionally in the Indian culture, but there is still a ton of issues with sugar, with starches, with fried, you know, even having fried healthy food with the bad oils and things like that, depending on how you cook it. So these things, these processed dishes and things like that, they're supposed to be treats. They're supposed to be during times of celebration. They're not supposed to be every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? So I just, you know, that's just my honest truth. Like, if you want me to give you fluff and, you know, I could just say, hey, yeah, make sure to eat healthy and, you know, you'll be better. But it's like, we know that already. So what's actually preventing us from actually doing it? Well, it could be a literally an identity shift that needs to happen with, I'm not going to identify myself with this just runs in my family. Okay. Look at your lineage and actually look at the habits of your family and see if you can tweak those, and, you know, and then and do it for 90 days, 120 days, 6 months, a year, like actually give it a real season of lifestyle changes. And then if you don't lose a pound, if you don't feel any healthier from eating whole foods, from eating fresh, you know, fruits, you know, getting with a nutritionist and getting in, you know, the supplements that you need for your body, good, you know, supplements that are actually high quality, the water, more walking, lifting weights. If you do all of that for 365 days and you don't see one change, you know, then you can argue that, yeah, it's genetic. Then if somebody actually did that, documented it, was able to prove that they actually did an entire lifestyle change for 365 days and then came back to my channel and said, here's my proof, here's the documentary on it, I don't feel any different, I'm still 40 pounds overweight, which is like virtually, arguably, almost like there's always an anomaly, almost impossible, right? So it's so much to the point where, you know, I was changing my habits. I lost 30 pounds, never gained it back. And I actually talk about that in my ebook guide. I thought I had it with me, but I will have it pinned in the comments down below if you want to check that out. But the same stuff I did in that ebook guide, I did for myself. I actually told other people about it. They were seeing changes, and I had my mom do a lot of the changes and lost weight. So I decided to put the information and the habits that I was doing into an ebook guide. Okay. So I just want to give you one last photo, and now that it's bigger, and just to show you guys the power of changing your habits. And I wish that we would have known this for my grandmother as well, because she probably would not have passed away from dementia. Because dementia is actually, that's a whole nother topic, but they're actually finding that it's type 3 diabetes. So again, I'm not a healthcare professional. This is just, I'm stating it just as my opinion, just what I've seen. Definitely let me know what you guys think about that. But there's a lot of research out there that's kind of going toward that direction. So I wish I would have known that for my grandmother. But, you know, God, glory to God, we now have this information. And so my mom can benefit from it. And then, you know, from her lineage and down, from her generation and on, right? So my mom was 280 pounds in this photo. She was around 280, 270, 280 in this photo. And then now she is in her 240s, headed for 230. And my mom is 6'1", by the way. She's 6'1". So, you know, she's still on a journey, but look at the difference in the inflammation in her face. Like, look at that. 60s right here, 40s right here. I mean, you can just see it on her, you know, it's like her eyes look puffy. So, you know, God bless my mom for allowing me to be able to share this as a genuine way to say, hey, look, us as beautiful Black and brown women, okay, there's struggles, there's traditional factors, there's environmental factors, there's habit factors, there's genetic factors. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't play a part at all, but a lot of it does have to do with just our ability to control what we can control, which is what we put into our mouth. That's not genetic. What we put into our mouth is a choice. Okay. Now there is issues like thyroid issues. My grandmother did have thyroid issues, by the way. My mom does not. She doesn't have it. She takes no medication in her 60s. She takes no medication in her 60s. My grandmother was on thyroid medication, but I believe if we had understood, her diet was horrible. It was really bad, but we didn't know. I mean, I was in college. I lived off of Wendy's and Taco Bell, like literally. So, you know, we just lack of education. And so now, thank God for the internet and just being able to have access to more resources. You know, I now know that, wow, you know, it had a lot to do with this stuff that was my grandmother and my mom was intaking. And I was on that same route. I was headed right down that path. And even my father, you know, my father actually was a lot heavier, you know, I think maybe 30, 40, 50, not maybe 50 pounds, but a solid 30 to 40 pounds in his 30s and 40s. And then now in his 60s, he's very lean. He's super active. So both of my parents in their 60s are able to walk very well. Like, they're just healthy because of lifestyle changes, choices that they decided to admit that they needed to change. And they actually were like, I really want this. I want to be able to have a high quality of life. We're all going to exit the planet at some time, but why not live it out to the best of our ability? Like, why not have a more rich, potent, you know, robust level of experiences in a healthy body rather than sitting back and always watching everybody else being active and traveling and being able to like live out life physically, right? You know, going on beautiful hikes. You know, when you travel, that takes a lot of energy out of you. And if you don't have the energy, if you can't walk, like I went to Egypt, and my mom was like, I want to go to Egypt. I was like, Mom, if you want to go to Egypt, I love you to death, but I have to keep it real with you. You're literally going to have to train for Egypt. Like, there's so much walking involved. You have to walk fast. You got to pay attention to your awareness, you know, your surroundings. You're not going to be able to climb inside the pyramid if you can't walk. And so that means, you know, you're going to have to start training, you know what I mean? And so, you know, we go on hikes and things like that together. So, and we do things that are more active as mother and daughter. When we do daughter dates, it's like we're walking, we're going to farmers markets and walking, we're going to the park and walking, we're going to Runyon Canyon, which is a super popular hike in Los Angeles, California. Like, we do things like that instead of just sitting and eating. You know, maybe we'll go on a hike and then we'll go get a smoothie, or we'll go on a hike and then go to lunch, right? So just those kinds of things, you can build more memories. You know, you're looking out at beautiful Mother Nature. You're getting ideas. You know, a lot of creativity. A lot of the greats talk about how when they, you know, would just go on walks, a lot of amazing downloads would happen from God, and you know, creative flow would happen. So there's just so much beauty and richness to food that's alive and then moving your body, okay? So again, I do have compassion for anybody that has hormonal issues. And there really is a genetic, like there is one-offs where there is a genetic component there where literally there could be a hormone that is switched off that is literally preventing you from being able to lose weight. Definitely get with a medical professional, definitely get with the healthcare professional to help you do some kind of therapy to get that back in order. But most of us